This morning I learnt a new word. It is concrete washout bags. This happens quite a lot. I'll get a phone call either from a mate, from a current client, or from a potential client, and they will tell me about their service, their idea, their product. A lot of the time, a lot of my tradie campaigns, they shift over to like shoulder spaces, like a builder will naturally move over to maybe granny flats or some kind of micro side hustle that makes sense in their space with all the assets they have available. Now, in this case, we're looking at the term concrete washout bags. Now, I've got quite a lot of experience in the concrete pumping, concrete brokers. So I've got quite a lot of Google Ads data to play around with, but this is now moving into e-commerce. It's a product that is used. I didn't know what this was. So the first thing I asked is, hey, okay, what's the setup? What's the goal? Is it just a business card type website that you need? In other words, you already have all the contacts in the world and you already have people finding you and you just need to look more professional so you can sell the product? And the answer was yes. I go, okay, and what does the site need to do? Is it just a website that displays your product and there's an inquiry form and you're going to process the order online or deliver? How do you want it to work? Or do you want it to be a shop? And they said basically, look, yeah, it needs to be a shop. So that's phase 2. Phase 1 is some sort of a WooCommerce setup. The way I would personally do it in this case scenario. But the third question was, okay, so you've got this stock, you've got this beautiful website, what next? A lot of people don't know what they're asking. They say, can you build me a site? But really what they're asking, can you build me a site and sell my product and move my product and make the site show up higher? It's really important to get to the bottom of these questions. A lot of people, when they want to build a website, they have the intent that website will progress on its own and all of a sudden show up on Google. Now it's 2025. That's just not going to happen. It didn't happen 10 years ago or 15 years ago because no matter the space, you've got competitors in that space. So in this case, yes, we need a business card type website that is professional. So phase 1, yes, we want an online shop. And yes, we want to appear and actually make the sales. Each has its own level of complexity. The site can be built with the shop. You can lean to something like Shopify. But in this case, because this is like a lean startup, we ran with the idea of phase 1. Let's just build a basic WooCommerce, basic WordPress website, which WooCommerce can be added to later on. So in other words, if we do get some early sales, process the orders manually with a Gravity form or a web form or someone calls up. And when this business has legs, add on the WooCommerce because that can get quite complex. It's not necessarily hard. It's just you got to jump through hoops with Stripe and banking set up. And these are busy boys, busy builders. Now, the next phase is understanding the cost of entry to market. If we were to attract visitors from Google, Facebook ads, or Google ads. So the first thing I do is I Google the term concrete washout bags or whatever the term is. And every day I get a phone call with a different keyword. My process is exactly the same. First, let's have a look at the keyword and what are the variations of that keyword. And I can see that concrete washout bag gets about 1,000 hits a month of people looking at, and the cost per click is roughly $1.35. Okay, now these are made up generic figures based on some kind of data that these guys have access to. If I log into Google Ads, I can see that data is actually accurate. $1.35 per click. There are over 1,000 times a month does that keyword get entered into Google. Now, this is we're playing around in the e-commerce space here. The next thing I look at is I look at the competitors. We've got competitor number 1, Jbro, competitor number 2, Psyker, and we have a look at their website. So this already looks like a bit more of an established website. This already looks like a WooCommerce setup. Let's have a look. No, this is some kind of a custom setup. Now, what I will also do is I will throw this into Ahrefs just to get an understanding of its maturity, SEO traffic. So you can see this domain, silverback.com.au, is sitting on a cool 6,000 organic visitors a month. So it's going to be, at a glance, it's going to be pretty hard to overtake this site from an SEO perspective. It's a site that clearly talks about these types of products concrete wash bag is literally their featured product. That tells me that they're focusing heavily on promoting this product, might be profitable, hence why maybe my potential client is looking at this space. So then we look at the point of this exercise is just to see the cost of entry to market. Who else is running ads? What are their websites like? So if I look at their homepage and I type in site semicolon and their domain, I can see that, okay, it's not being shown here. Here we go. About 1,690 results, meaning this website has 1,600 pages indexed in Google. So this is a bit of a monster of a site. So if we go to page 8 and we continue clicking through the site, you can see that this is a typical e-commerce website. So it's something to take note. Okay, what else we got? We've got Psyker, another one. This looks very much established. You could judge a site by its footer, by its categories, protecting your people since 1989. So brand authority. I'm sure the social accounts are mature, maybe not. Sometimes these companies can, okay, it's not all play authentication. So close this. So social accounts, so another one. Let's have a look at their cost of entry. Imagine they had some sort of a website rebuild. Maybe they had a transfer from a different domain. Let's have a look at them. There's probably going to be a redirect from their old domain to the new domain. I'm sure there was some kind of a redirection. They changed the URL permalinks. So you can see they're sitting on 2,000 visitors a month. That was competitor number 2. Who else do we have? We're JBro. Let's have a look at their domain. So there are businesses that are running Google. Here it is. Here's another website that is targeting this keyword and is potentially, okay, consider it done. These guys look like in the construction space as well. So the cost of entry from an SEO perspective, I wouldn't say it's crazy competitive, but there's definitely competitors. Look at this. This site is sitting on 30,000 visitors a month on a steady incline, showing up in a lot of the AI views, AI searches, which means it's optimized for the new age, running Google ads as well. Now, what would I do if this was my baby? I would be considering a laser focused domain, meaning an exact match domain. So my next question was, hey, are you planning to expand to other products, or is it just going to be this one product? And the boys said, it's just going to be this one product. So I would be picking up an exact match domain. Personally, I either pick up the exact match domain if it's available, or a mixture of brand plus exact match these days. That way it's easier to build backlinks to it with the anchor text and things like that. That's how I would do it. It's something I still do every day. I pick up exact match domains like suburb domains or city domains, whatever it is, might be like electrician plus the suburb. If there's search volume, I would list all of their variations of that product. I would create a cluster of guide-like blogs on the product, how to choose this product, a buying guide. I would create comparison guides on my product versus competitor product. And that way you can gently show up for their brand keywords with these comparison pages. I would create listicle posts on best concrete washout bags, how to choose them, how to clean them, where they're used, how to store them. So basically you can just generate a whole bunch of useful content on this topic. And Google actually helps you with, here we go, topical keywords. We can do some analysis on the supporting keywords, guide keywords, high intent keywords. Typical SEO campaign. Now, I was going to be quite careful with the conversation of Google ads because they can be quite costly, and I can see that these bags cost as low as $30 to $40. So my 5 cents was, I worry that our first Google ads may not be positively geared. In fact, they may never be positively geared because we're competing with big boy competitors like this one over here, which are selling these bags at $46. Maybe because they're buying them in the millions in bulk. Maybe they have credits with suppliers that if they move X amount of stock, they get discounts or bonuses on other products. You don't know what happens behind the doors of these kind of setups. Maybe their cost price per unit is higher than this, and that all of a sudden doesn't make sense to do this. When I say doesn't make sense to do this, Doesn't make sense to fire up a Google ad and compete with this. But it might still make sense to build a basic website and use it because you're in the construction space and you're constantly dealing with people that need this. And hey, here it is, just process the order through my site. So this might simply be just a website construction with an exact match domain, and hopefully on its own it marinates through the ranks and eventually pops up somewhere. I did find a site which is concrete washout bags. Found one which is an exact match domain. Here it is, concrete washout bags Australia. Now, to me, at a glance, looking at this website with very basic pages, a couple of service pages, no real SEO, I can see that this site is, 7 pages. It's got a checkout, so it does have the WooCommerce store. This does look like a Shopify site to me. No, it doesn't. It looks like some sort of a custom. And if I look at the history, and in the footer, it says copyright 2020. So this was built 5 years ago, and on its own, it's just picking up a little bit of traffic. Now, I wouldn't call this crazy traffic, but I'm sure every now and again they get a sale or two. Now, 5-year-old site on its own without any SEO optimization took 5 years and basically getting under 20 visitors a month. If they applied some love to this site, they have no known backlinks. So that's what an unoptimized website. I love seeing those sites at the top of Google because it means the space isn't that competitive. So an SEO campaign that may not be positively geared for the first 2 years is what I think would take easily to overtake these guys. It's just what will happen most likely is you will begin to hit these e-commerce sites and it might be hard to overtake them if their authority on that topic is quite good. So if they have, like in their blogs, a cluster of guides, tips, advice on this particular topic, they've got specific cement orientated stuff, it might be hard to overtake them. But if a monster site like this simply has this one product and nothing else, an exact match domain might progress through the ranks. And look, I still pick up exact match domains because sometimes they just pop up to first and it makes no sense and we call them outliers, but that's why I still do them, because 1 in 10, 1 in 5 will just progress because of its exact match nature. So in a nutshell, I asked 3 questions. What do you need this website for? Does it need to act like a business card? Does it need to function and make the sale for you and you're going to ship things out? And do we need to actually, to acquire traffic, we must overtake competitors, which means we must beat them on their assets. We must outdo them on their backlinks, on their pages. To acquire traffic, we might need to run a Google ad. And in this case, Google ads seems like quite, let's say we have 5 clicks, might be positively geared, but it's just I'm not a fan of this particular space in Google ads where these are like super low ticket items. I think it's going to be hard to make this campaign profitable early on, but over time you evolve it. Generally not my cup of tea. If this was a service for concrete pumping, now we're talking. In this exact campaign, I think this campaign has only spent about 15K, under 20K somewhere on the term concrete pumping. The leads were like from $40 to $50. Some of those services for a big pump for a multi-day project, you could make good money, meaning we're selling the service of concrete pumping and hiring of the trucks over the small, arguably cheap product that those service providers need. Hope that helps and hope this makes sense.